And we're back, finally. But we're going to talk about another Netflix movie today. We're not going to be talking about anything in theaters because besides Alita, there isn't much I want to see. And even then, I don't really want to see Alita that much. But I will see Alita probably next week. So maybe I'll do something with that. But what I did see was another Netflix movie, as I was saying, at a Sundance called Velvet Buzzsaw, which is a movie written and directed by Dan Gilroy of Nightcrawler fame and Denzel Washington movie that came out a year or two ago that nobody remembers. He made Nightcrawler. And after this, he might still be known as the guy who made Nightcrawler because this movie is obviously not doing... I mean, it's a Netflix movie, so you can't talk about box office. But critically, this movie is nowhere near as well received as Nightcrawler was. And I agree for the most part. While a lot of critics are really trashing on this movie, I did not hate it absolutely. There are things about it that I think are good, but for everything that's good, there is something also holding the movie back, unfortunately. Which is a shame because I really like the premise. The premise is kind of something ambitious, off the wall, really weird in a good way. Really weird in a good way as an idea. As an execution, it's very sloppy, but I'll go into that in more detail in a minute. But yeah, everybody's talking about their love of Nightcrawler. It's like, hey, it's on the poster. Guy who made Nightcrawler, watch it. It's like, okay, obviously, a lot of people like Nightcrawler. It's not my favorite movie of 2014. That would have to be Whiplash, because Whiplash is amazing. But I could acknowledge that Nightcrawler is a good movie. So Jake Gyllenhaal's back, Rene Russo's back, both were in Nightcrawler. I don't know if they were in the Denzel movie, but I think people are starting to kind of get the idea that Dan Gilroy might just be a one-off, one-hit wonder with Nightcrawler. Because, yeah, this movie is just so sloppily written, and the directing isn't anything to write home about either. But I guess I'll go over a brief summary of the plot. Alright, so I guess I'll just read the IMDb synopsis here. After a series of paintings by an unknown artist are discovered, a supernatural force enacts revenge on those who have allowed their greed to get into the way of art. So this is an ensemble cast of a lot of very, I'll say specific characters, because the movie's trying to be satirical a lot of the time, or it's at least trying to have but it's at least trying to have some social commentary. So all the characters really fit into these niche specific roles. Like you have Jay Gyllenhaal's the art critic, Rene Russo is, the money-grubbing art gallery owner, and then you have Josephina, who's like the person at the bottom of the totem pole getting into the industry, who just wants, to put her foot in the door and that kind of thing. You have John Malkovich, who's the only person who actually seems to care about the work that he's doing, but he's stuck. It's like they all fit into these specific, gaps to make the plot happen. But the problem is that the plot is so sloppily written and constructed, and it feels like 6 movies trying to fit into one. It's like, okay, we want to be a satire, kind of. We want to say some relevant social commentary on, where art is in our world and society today. We want to make it like a weird horror movie out of nowhere and starting in the second act. And it just is a mess of tones. And not only is the structure kind of bad, but a lot of the actual dialogue writing is really on the nose and just unnatural, and it's just real bad. I wouldn't say real bad, but it's definitely distracting at times how much some of the dialogue actually stands out. I mean, compared to Nightcrawler, it's kind of hard to even see a resemblance. I mean, I guess some of the directing is kind of similar with some of the camera moves he does and stuff like that, but, Nightcrawler was, mainly shot at night with, illuminated by all these street lamps and stuff. It looks really good. Nightcrawler looks like a really good movie, cinematography-wise. This movie, I don't know if it was a style choice or it was a budget constriction or something, but all the lighting is just flat, even white lighting. These big old white rooms, these sets that aren't the most exciting things ever, and it's just I don't know. It's nothing interesting about it after a while. It's just kind of bland and repetitive, which, if that's what he's trying to go for, I don't think he succeeds if that's what he's trying to do. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I really like what he's trying to do, though. I see what he's trying to do, And I really like it. There's my favorite part of the movie. It's like this one tiny little mini montage where, spoilers again, but there's like big sphere, right? And I guess like if you put your arm inside the sphere, something happens, or it's supposed to like, I don't know, whatever. But so it's this big old sphere, and Toni Collette goes after a museum closes. She puts her arm in it, gets her arm cut off, and bleeds to death on the floor. But then the next day, they talk about how like, oh, the security guards just thought it was a piece of the art and they left it there. And so her body is just on the floor with like blood everywhere. And it's like, oh yeah, everybody thought it was just the art. And then they say like, oh yeah, kids were like playing in it, or kids were like making footprints because everybody just thought it was the piece of art that was on display. And it's like, okay, I see what you're doing here, making like the lines between, okay, how like weirdly violent art can be, or how, you know, I guess how accepted we are as a society of violence in art, you know, or something along those lines. That's I see. This movie could have been something really special. I feel like, because I really liked kind of where it was heading, but it just kind of all falls apart at the end when our characters like get their comeuppance. Some of it kind of makes sense, like they were like in a way consumed by the art and become the art that they kind of rejected, or the art that they like scrutinized or sold soullessly gets them. So like the homeless robot gets Jake Gyllenhaal, but then like there's the one glasses dude who just gets hung by something. I don't know, it doesn't make sense if you think about it. Or that one guy at the beginning, it's like, oh, he just tried to steal the art for money, and then he goes to a gas station where there's a painting of monkeys right above the sink, and it's gonna grab him. And I don't know, this movie is just kind of a mess, but it's not bad though. I would say it's worth watching for sure, because it's got lots of things in there that really are interesting and really kind of, I wouldn't say really make you think, but you know, they make you think like, oh, that's a nice little twist on things, or that's a nice little, you know, jab at kind of where art is in our society today, or like the state of art, or whatever that community is. I don't really know, obviously, inside that community, but it's definitely an exaggeration of things. It's trying to be a satire. It's trying to be like kind of satire, where he's got all these kind of, you know, stereotypical characters, these caricatures of people who, you know, are very like written very specifically, but it just doesn't work. The dialogue is, it's bad at times. The dialogue is really bad. I wanted to like this movie so bad. I really wanted to like this. I was liking it at the beginning, and it just kind of took a nosedive. But it's not, I can't say it's a bad movie though. But for every good thing, there's definitely a bad thing to kind of even it out. So because of that, I'd probably have to give this a 5 out of 10. I really wanted to like this more, but I can't, you know, say it's a great movie or anything. But you know, I don't know what's up with Dan Gilroy. Maybe Nightcrawler for just kind of some one-off thing. I'd say keep trying though. Keep trying, Dan Gilroy, because maybe you'll make something like Nightcrawler again. But this is not it. I admire where you're going for this very ambitious project, but it did not work, my man. I'm sorry. I'm probably going to be making a video on Alita soon, hopefully, and also work on the Predator video. That's going to take some time, probably, but hopefully I can actually get it done. Alright. Thank you for watching, and I don't know, see you, I guess.